Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. Hopefully you guys are doing well. We are going to be doing live readings this evening. Thanks for joining me. Give everybody a few minutes to get this going so they know that we're going live. If you're new to my channel, do me a favor, please give me a thumbs up and like this stream. It really helps with getting this out there onto YouTube. We're going to be doing live tarot. We alternate every other week. So this week we're going to be doing tarot readings, $20 donation for 1 card, $40 donation for 3 cards. If you'd like to get a reading, scan the QR code below. It's going to take you to my PayPal. You can make a donation there. Please, in the memo, put your name if it differs from your name on YouTube, along with your specific question. And a big shout out to all of the members, level 2, 3. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate it. We're doing like the shout outs usually at the beginning of the month. So if you didn't catch that, check last week's live reading. And of course, I would assume there's going to be lots of like love readings tonight. It's almost Valentine's Day. We've also got Pluto and Mercury kind of linking up right now. So it's a really great time to get a reading. Thank you, Serena. I see you. And just like a roll call for who I've got in the queue. Let me know if there's any level 3 people who are waiting that would like to get a reading. That's the benefit of being level 3. If you guys join that, you get a reading once a month. And we take you guys first. So I've got Miss V, Vanessa, Kelsey, Serena, Kiki, and Paula. What's up? Hey, Jessica, how's it going? Let me know if you would like to check in, cash in, and get your reading. How's everybody doing on this Friday night? How's it going? Hey, Paula. Happy Friday. I got you, Paula. Don't worry. Nope, we just started. We're gonna take readings in the order that we received them. So it's gonna be Miss V, Vanessa, and Kelsey. You guys are the first few in the queue. Right after we take Jessica. Stacy says, Pluto is playing with my heart. What's up, Miss V? How's it going? Jessica says she'll take her general reading for the month. You got it. Jessica says, I got back from New York City on Wednesday. Shannon and I did a clearing on a home and a client, and I just want to make sure I'm clear. Ooh, Spookertons. We can do that for you. We can take a look. Let me add you to my list so I remember who I spoke to. All right, cool. So let's see what the cards have to say for Jessica after her clearing for a client. How was New York City? Was it fun? Let's see what these cards have to say. I feel like I've heard like more weird house clearing, paranormal type things this last week than normal. Ghostly things. You were flown out, so fancy. Let's take a look. What's up, Davers? Okay, this is the order that they came in, so this is kind of interesting. You got 2 court cards coming up here. I feel actually like this might be representing like you and Shannon like going together. Yeah, the energy has been super weird. So we've got the 7 of Cups reversed, the King of Cups, and the King of Swords. Honestly, you know, the fact that the 2 kings are coming up upright makes me feel like you're solid, especially from like a emotional and an energetic kind of standpoint. It looks like you guys did what you need to do to clear things. But I'm wondering if you were in a space that there was like substance abuse issues, mental, emotional issues, if there was like psychological problems, like that's kind of the vibe that I get from the 7 of Cups reversed. So yeah, you definitely got slimed in some ways, but I think you're actually pretty good. This is the past position card, so it's saying like some confusion. Maybe you felt like you've been kind of out of it since you left, or maybe there's been some issues also like at night, or potentially like dreams or weird things that are going on in the evening hours, like when you're getting ready to go to bed. This can also talk about doing a lot of work on the astral. So I'm kind of getting the impression that there's a sense of you not just doing work physically in the space with the client, that you were like either working with them in altered states or you were working with them and being able to clear things that's in other places. So there is like almost maybe like a ripple effect. That's kind of the feeling that I get, that it's taking time to kind of break all of that down. Now the King of Cups does talk about emotional health. It talks about emotional security. It also talks about your sensitive emotional self. So the King of Cups coming up upright, I feel like is good. It can be talking about really working with the two elements of water and air. This can also be talking about continuing the process of clearing and cleansing. One thing you may want to watch for is if there's like something coming up where you're like craving things, okay? So sometimes when the King of Cups comes up with the Seven of Cups, it's like craving drugs, craving alcohol, anything in regards to that, like that would be very foreign to you, right? So be mindful of that. And that's not unusual when you're doing like clearings for people, that you'll start picking up on mannerisms or behavior or even like obsessions or fixations or whatever it is that they're going through, because you're clearing it out of that space. So perhaps working with the energy of water to keep that going, but the King is upright. So it's saying like he can navigate this realm, he's fine. Then we've got the King of Swords coming up. And so this is more about claiming your space, like using words and like invocations to protect your space. This may also mean like working with the element of air. So things that you may burn. So I think of like incense and like I said, words. If you work with like particular tools spiritually to also like mark your territory, or if you have like symbols or sigils, or anything that you're using, even like a symbol of like a sword, that can be about kind of clearing the air energetically. But the fact that they're coming up as a team, I think, is about the two of you guys working together and being able to kind of clear this out. I wonder if it impacted both of you guys very differently, where one of you guys got kind of slimed psychically and the other one kind of feels like there's been some either mental or some like I'm not going to say energetic because that would be fire, but like some like mental confusion or like static, like having a difficult time connecting like post that. I'm just reading your comments. I'm getting visitors in dreams. I keep clearing it. Client has issues with addiction and mental health caused by a psychic attack. Okay. Yeah, perfect. I would say also just, in my opinion, something that you can work with that works really well for some of that sticky energy. I mean, you can't go wrong with frankincense or myrrh. Those are kind of like the OGs for clearing that stuff, you know? But I think you guys are good. Seven of Cups might talk about taking a full week to finally kind of clear that out. Also, we've got a new moon in Pisces that's going to be coming in hot here in about, what, 10-ish days. So that might be a good time to do it. Banishing work is really good right when the moon is coming into the new moon. So the day before, actually, we come into the new moon, we're going to see the moon cross Saturn. That's really good for working with air, especially in Aquarius, and being able to like just kind of set intentions. Maybe look into like doing the lesser banishing ritual, really to kind of just like blast out that space and continue to keep working with those two elements. Likely when you notice that things calm down, like in nighttime or like when you're sleeping, you'll know when it has like fully dissipated. But you guys are solid. Both of the kings are upright. Jessica says, Shannon's health was messed up. He ruptured an eye vessel. Oh my goodness. I was very angry and short fused, which I've been in a long time. Shannon took a hit in his body and his blood sugar got messed up since we've been back. Yep. Definitely consider doing the lesser banishing ritual. And I feel like also like Seven of Cups can also be just like a traditional 7-day bath. You know, you can get those at the Botanicas where they have like I think they do like the 5, 7, and 13. Pick up some or order some dried hyssop. That can be really good post doing any clearings. Hyssop, Florida water. Those are the two OGs. I'm glad you guys are good. I'm glad you guys are good. It's like real life Ghostbusters, you know? What's up, Susan? How's it going? Thank you for joining us. Let me know if you would like to get your reading. You throw the homework. Got it. You got it. Yep, it's like that. Coconut, like what? Like white rum, sea salt, all that stuff is what you want to use. Who are you going to call? Shannon and Jessica Martinez. I I had to say it, sorry. All right, so let's see what's up. Black walnut, that's good. That's good for banishing on a dark moon too. If you want to do some hardcore stuff, white candle and black walnut. Take a bath in the dark, and then when you get out of the tub, you don't look at a mirror, I think, and then you blow the candle out. I don't know. That's like some OG stuff. We've got Miss V. What's up, Miss V? She says 3-card reading. Should I accept the job offer or I was given by the place where I did my externship, or wait for another opportunity? Thank you, Jessica. Good luck. All right, so let's see what the cards say for Miss V. Does she accept this job offer where she did her externship, or wait for another opportunity? Ooh, I accidentally pulled 2, but we're going to read it. Okay, so this is the order that it came up in. Interesting. All right, so you got like a double one here. So King of Cups makes another appearance. I have a feeling he's gonna pop up a lot this evening. Let's see. King of Cups and the Temperance card. So what's the deal? It's less about being indecisive. It's more about being like, I don't know if I'm gonna love this position. I don't know if I'm gonna love this job. The Temperance being in the center position really kind of makes me feel like before you accept this, you need to make sure that you actually want to stay there. Okay, I think it's great for experience, but I think I would recommend making sure that you want to stay there. King of Cups is feeling it out emotionally, seeing what your intuition is telling you. It may also talk about feeling like, okay, do I get along with people here? Do I feel like I am going to be comfortable working in this environment? Am I going to be comfortable with some of the people around me? I don't think you have a problem saying no. I'm going to be honest, because the King of Cups is going to like keep it real with his feelings. So there can be a sense of him being like, hey, here's the deal. You know, like, I don't know if it's a good fit, but I appreciate it. Okay, thanks. Are you under a time crunch? Because sometimes when the Temperance card comes up reversed, it's like you need to give them an answer within a certain period of time. And Temperance is saying like, I just don't feel like that it's the right time. The timing is off. Exactly my thoughts are a great starting point. Okay. Yeah, I think that the Temperance card is just saying like you really would need to stay a little bit longer before you could feel right accepting this position Monday at 11. So that's not giving you a lot of time. The Wheel of Fortune and the 9 of Coins does make me feel inclined to tell you that there are better things on the horizon, because this is a future card. And what's interesting is these are both major arcana. So these are both 2 really significant energies. So if you're kind of feeling off about it right now, the Wheel of Fortune coming up is saying, look, something better is on the horizon. And then as a confirmation, we've got this card that popped in, the 9 of Coins, which is like feeling more abundant. So it may suggest that there's going to be another position that's going to pop up that's going to pay better. It also talks about kind of having your choice, feeling like it's up to you to decide what direction you're going in. If you have to give them an answer, honestly, I would say if you're going to listen to your intuition and say that it's not the right fit or it's not the right time, and that taking that too soon is going to limit your ability to find something else, I would have to agree with that. And the Wheel of Fortune does talk about the fixed points in the zodiac. So we're in Aquarius right now. The next fixed point is going to be closer to May, and then again in August. So think when we have Taurus season, when we have Leo season. Obviously look at your ascendant, so know what's going on in your transits. I think that's really important. When you're having a lot of action in your 2nd, 6th, and 10th house, that can sometimes be an indication that there's new job opportunities or money-making opportunities on the horizon. But I also feel like you're going to have your choice. Like the 9 of Coins is kind of like, okay, I'm going to, you know, it's up to me to choose where I'm going to be working. So you may get another offer, you may get a number of offers, but it's ultimately going to lead to something that I think is actually going to pay a little bit better. Sag rising Aquarius sun. So you're going to have a Mercury retrograde in your 6th house soon. That'll be in April going into May. So probably that's right around the time that I would look. Especially because it's interesting, this is a card that deals with Sagittarius, so is the Wheel of Fortune, both Temperance and that are my Sag cards. So it can be saying, like, if you feel like timing is off, let's wait a little bit, because I feel like if you do take a job that you're not totally sold on right now, when you have a retrograde in the 6th house, especially with some of the squares that we're going to be seeing this year, it may not necessarily be the best move and you might kind of change direction. So if they're cool allowing you to continue to keep staying there and doing work there without accepting a full-time position, I would take that. And if they're not, even if they're not, to me, it seems like something else is better on the horizon. But at the end of the day, the King of Coins, the King of Cups coming up is saying you have to listen to what your intuition is telling you. You have to kind of do, you know? Hopefully that's helpful for you. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. Thanks, Vanessa. I'll throw that in with your question. What's up, Jay Fabulous? What's up, Susan? We'll take Susan's question since she's level 3, and then I'll get you, Vanessa. Thanks, Mari. All right, so let's answer Susan's question. What's up, girlfriend? Susan says, 3 card, why did my teacher turn on me with lies and kick me out of the group class? What's the reason behind it? I didn't do anything. Let's take a look. So what is going on with Susan's teacher drama? I got you, Paula, don't worry, you're on my list. After I take Susan, I've got I've got Vanessa, Kelsey, Serena, Kiki, Paula. You're in here. I got you. Don't worry. All right, so let's see what's going on with Susan's teacher drama. Okay, so we got it in this order. 9 of Wands reversed, 3 of Swords, the Hermit card. Hey, Lynn. 9 of Wands reversed, that's a heavy card. That's basically talking about feeling not left out in the cold. That's not the right term. 9 of Wands reversed is kind of feeling like there's too much going on. There's too much to manage. There's too much to handle. 3 of Swords talks about getting feelings hurt, feeling betrayed, feeling like somebody said something that was hurtful, not feeling loved. I'm not going to say respected, but loved by another person, or somebody saying something that's really hurtful. And then we've got the Hermit card kind of coming up, which is talking about like going and like reflecting about it. Here's a question that I wonder. You can answer this or not. Was there something going on where there were other people kind of like ragging on the teacher and talking about like, you know, how challenging it is, or that they're not getting enough from the class, or that they're not getting enough support? Is there anything like that going on? I could see that happening with the 9 of Wands reversed. And I also get the impression that there could be something that was like taken the wrong way. So if there were people who were talking about it, telephone game, and the way that this gets relayed, she can end up taking it personally, hearing what she's hearing, when perhaps maybe there was a group of people, because 9 of Wands talks not just about one person, it's one person who's the fall person. So that one person kind of gets accused of being like the ringleader of potentially like gossiping. Sometimes 3 of Swords can be that. There can also be a sense of somebody getting their feelings hurt and feeling like somebody didn't jump in and do anything to defend them, right? Because sometimes the wands are about being defensive. And her not feeling like she could defend herself in a situation. So by the time things get back to her, oh, so-and-so didn't stand up for me, or so-and-so said this, and then she takes it personally. That's what looks like it happened. That 3 of Swords also makes me feel like in the center position, there's definitely hurt feelings. So it's not a sense of somebody did anything wrong in the class per se, or that somebody wasn't participating, or that somebody wasn't, you know, doing well enough. It's that somebody felt like they were either slandered or they were gossiped about. And then the Hermit card coming up is like, now they're reflecting on it. So I'm not saying you per se, but I do get the impression that the Hermit card talks a little bit about her thinking about it and being like, okay, well, you know, did I make the right decision? But also that's a card of feeling left out in the cold, but it's about the willingness to kind of pick up your toys and go home, like go and do your own thing. So I think that maybe this is shining a light on the group, or I don't know what kind of a class it is, but shining a light on the group and you kind of realizing like, do I want to like study with these people? Like, are these the people that I want to be around them? Like, do I want to be associated with this kind of group? Like, especially if this ends up, if this is like a research group or like a meditation group or a metaphysical group, because this does talk about like awareness and like shining a light in the dark. So I'm wondering what kind of a class it is. She accused me of pulling people to my server outside of, yeah, so there you go. Yep. So, what's kind of unfair about this situation is that I do think that the situation was broadly misrepresented, because the Nine of Wands does seem to suggest that it wasn't a fair fight, or perhaps that there was something that, you know, people were saying to kind of pin two people against each other. But the Hermit card makes me feel like it's more about you looking at the situation and being like, do I really want to have a teacher who's like willing to make these accusations, or do I want to study with people? I was told I was being pulled that morning before the ship sank on my pole. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I would really ask yourself, what did you learn from the situation? And even if you were participating in something that was going to make you feel like you were supposed to be included, where either the situation didn't, and that may not necessarily be your tribe, or it may not necessarily be people that you want to socialize with. And generally speaking, when we see like the Tower card, or when we see like the Three of Swords come up, it's really hard to come back from something like that, because things have already been said, feelings have been hurt, and like there's no real need to reconcile. I think that the Hermit card is basically saying you can look at the situation and go, it's really unfortunate that they decided to handle it like this. And it has gotten to a point where it's like, it's not worth salvaging. Yeah. And it's also about learning that just because people are within a certain group, or, you know, practicing whatever they're practicing, or you thought they were like your tribe, like not necessarily. So it's definitely shining a light on things where people have their own kind of subconscious issues and sensitivities that they're not dealing with. I'm sorry to hear that this happened. That's a bummer. Sending you lots of love in the midst of that. I think you're on to bigger, better things. What's up, Kayla? Let's see, who else do we have here? Thanks, Jules. I'll give you guys an updated running list of who I have. Give me just a second. Of course you knew. Okay, so we've got Vanessa, Kelsey, Serena, Kiki, Magic Lotus, Brandon, Jules, Cindy, Austin, Elle, and Susan snuck in there again. All right, cool. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. I got you, Jules. Okay, so if you guys want to get a reading, scan the QR code below. I've also got you, Mari. I didn't forget about you. Don't worry. All right, let's take Vanessa, and then we'll get Kelsey. And then Vanessa, you were also asking another question. What can I do to protect our home living space to have peace and quiet and good vibes? I like sandalwood, especially to diffuse any conflict. And you guys are gonna see, like, over the next 10 days or so, as we're coming into the new moon, we're gonna be wanting a lot more like spiritual boundaries, because that new moon's gonna be in Pisces and it's gonna be conjunct Saturn. So like cleansing of the house, or like laying salt, or like washing the floors, like that's the kind of stuff you want to be doing. Especially if you have all that Cancer and Virgo in your chart, any like rituals revolving around like cleansing the home, protecting the home. Vanessa says, I had a follow-up question from last week. You mentioned the Virgo will come back around in a few months. Can you clarify why? I'm confused. Regarding meant to be, if he just gets bored and figures I'll be around. Also, goodness I can expect for this year of my love life, with or without him. Thank you. I got you. That Mercury-Pluto transit was gnarly for you. This was the order. Interesting. Hi, you're here. you're in the Tower zone. I'm looking at my altar right now. I got like a tarot card holder, and I pull 3 cards every day, and I'm looking at my cards, and I also have the same card in the same position. So you're among good friends. The 6 of Wands, the Tower, the Queen of Cups. I mean, so here's the deal. The 6 of Wands talks about like chugging along and feeling like things are going great, everything's fine, like, you know, everything's going to be good, or I'm going to be well received, or, you know, this is the past position. Okay, so it is talking about maybe the fact that you were kind of moving forward in the relationship with that person, hoping for the best, assuming that things were going to kind of like come full circle and it was going to be good. But this is also a reminder card that don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? It's about celebrating what you have, but don't assume victory, which is what sometimes happens when we see the 6 of Wands come up. People are like, oh, everything's going to be great. And it's not a positive card. It was just like a in the moment card, right? So then we have the Tower, which is that energy of like Mars. It is about toppling a situation, like the rug being pulled out from underneath you. Definitely that's been a theme that you've been dealing with over this last week or so since the last time I spoke to you. This also talks about where you're at right now, where it's like, no, we're not going to be going back there, or there is something that's come up that's really disrupted the foundation in terms of the potential relationship. I wonder, and if I am correct with what I've seen with the astrology, perhaps maybe it's this feeling that he's just like, okay, I can just, you know, just kind of be on my merry way after kind of ceasing the relationship, and that he's going to be fine, because there can be a sense of like, you know, putting all the stuff on the horse, getting ready, and like being on your way. So I think maybe he feels like it's complete, or that you guys are cool, you guys are fine because you left things in a positive manner, or there wasn't like a lot of like drama or back and forth. So then here's the Tower card. The Tower card can be talking about you realizing like, no, there's no going back. Things have happened that has really made me realize that there is no foundation in this relationship and it's kind of fallen apart. It can also be talking about in regards of him, where he realizes like, oh, she's really done this time, or like, you know, she's not calling me, or she's not reaching out to me, or, you know, like maybe things hitting him and him realizing that there is no real going back, right? The Tower card, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like what may be happening around the Scorpio eclipse. I know we're still kind of early, but those eclipses are going to hit in the end of April and the beginning of May. And that eclipse is still going to be in opposition to Uranus, and it's going to be a Scorpio moon. It's going to be a little wonky. So I'm wondering if it's going to be like right around that time. And it's interesting because just from like a Virgo perspective, you've got an eclipse from your eighth house from your sun, and then you've got an eclipse in your 3rd house. So there is this like awareness of something is over, or they're not answering, or they're not talking to me, or they haven't even reached out to me. Followed by like the Queen of Cups, which is really interesting because you've got like being in the moment, realizing that you can't just live for the moment, and that you have to make a foundational change in regards to the way that you're approaching relationships, the way that maybe even you're approaching the situation with him. Then you have the Queen of Cups coming up, which is saying like, in spite of some of the drama, staying grounded, staying connected, being open for love, being open for relationships, being kind to yourself, like not hardening your heart, right? Like there isn't a sense of like coming out of this as a queen reversed, or coming out of this with the Empress reversed, like feeling full and feeling complete, not allowing this situation to kind of throw you off of your chair or your seat here as a queen. I also like the fact that it does talk about nurturing and tuning into like the emotions and the intuition. So I think that this can also suggest that you're going to be more cautious proceeding forward in relationships this year. You're not just going to immediately jump into something. You're really going to check in with yourself before you make any moves. Sometimes the Queen of Cups can say that you are approaching love in a much more mature way. That you are the person who is saying, hey, I'm open, I'm ready, I'm receptive. There can be a sense of being like a little idealistic with this card, but I think with some of the stuff that happened with the Tower coming before this, I think it's more about you going, okay, I'm focusing on just staying open to the right thing and not allowing myself to go to like a dark place emotionally as a result of what's happened in the past. So it's a really good sign that you're going to come out of it the other side okay. But I think right now it's the, okay, we handled things fine. There's no drama. You know, it was like a peaceful kind of separation. But it may hit him pretty significantly here down the road. Could be a couple weeks. I think like the 6 of Wands could be closer to like, you know, 6 weeks time or so. And also know, like I said, as a Cancer rising, you really want to be watching what's going on with June and July when the North and the South node move to square Pluto in your 7th house. That April eclipse, it's going to square Pluto in your 7th house. So it's all going to be about you realizing that you have the power and not allowing relationships to dictate things anymore. And I think there's one thing that's very, very clear from this, because this is, yeah, it's Mars energy. It could be seen as Pluto energy too. There is no going back to how things used to be, right? It's like, imagine that relationship or like the bridge there. The bridge has been blown up. You detonated that, you know? Hopefully that's helpful. I don't think, I mean, you can. The Tower card can basically be like, okay, that's done. Like, we're not friends anymore, if that's what you want to do. I think that whether you delete him or not, he's going to have this realization. So doing things like that could very well make him realize like, oh, she's really done, you know, but whether you delete him or not, I still do think he's going to come back because I've looked at the synastry. Hopefully that's helpful. Thank you, Jay Fabulous. I appreciate you. Who else we got here? We got Kelsey, Serena, Kiki, and he's still going to look at your stuff, though. That's what Virgos do. They're Virgo men especially. Virgo men especially. Okay, Mari, you just hang tight. I'll come swing around to you. And Jay Fabulous, I can pull one for you, too, if you want. All right, so let's see. We've got Kelsey. Kelsey says, I am November 4th, 89. General reading or card pull regarding my love and relationships. I just met someone new online. I'm wondering if it will actually go anywhere. Thinking of taking a trip out of state to meet him. Thanks. So let's take a look. So in regards to Kelsey's question about her love life and maybe taking a trip out of state to meet this person, what's your sun, moon, and rising? Here we go. Got these cards in this order for you. 7 of Wands, 2 of Wands, 4 of Coins. Interesting energy. These aren't bad cards. They're not. We don't have any cups coming up, so it's not a huge, you know, emphasis in the love department. Libra rising, Scorpio sun, Cap moon. Okay, so you got 7 of Wands, which is basically saying, I don't know if you're coming out of a period where you're just a little more cautious with your heart. It's possible with Saturn kind of getting ready to leave your 5th house. But seven of Wands is kind of feeling like, okay, I'm going to see what this is about, but also like not making yourself too readily available, right? This is also feeling like in control of the situation. So don't feel like you have to be the one to make moves to see something go forward with this person, okay? Like, it's fine. You could stay in the same place and you guys can keep talking, or he could come to you, and you actually don't have to go to him. I'm not entirely sure you will immediately, just looking at some of these cards, both for cautionary reasons and it also might be for financial reasons. But seven of Wands is basically saying, like, just be cautious. It doesn't mean that you can't trust him, but don't feel like you need to kind of like rush to being the person who's going to push this along. 2 of Wands is saying that you're open-minded. So I think that this is also saying it's not necessarily about going out of state to meet him and stay with him, that perhaps you might meet him in another place. I feel like that might be like the kind of fair balance with some of these cards, because the Four of Coins is kind of saying you might hold off for a little bit longer before you do it, or you might see if he's the one who actually makes the move or offers to come and visit you or makes an offer to meet you somewhere on neutral ground. But the Two of Wands tells me that you're definitely going to connect with him. It's just a matter of where. Because you're like, okay, I'll go, but you might be asking yourself, do I want to do it in a neutral place, right? So depending on where you live and where he lives, I'm wondering how that could look. Is there a place literally in the middle? Does it mean that you guys go to, you know, a city that might be nearby, but you're staying in your own spaces? He talked about coming here first, but I'm more comfortable going there to see him just in case. What's interesting is that I see the Seven of Wands and the Four of Coins as being about boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of saying if you do go and see him, there is some sense of boundaries. And I'm not saying this to be like super uber conservative, but these are conservative cards. So it may suggest that even if you do go to see him or he comes to see you, it doesn't matter. Like you may not actually physically stay with him. Like there may be a sense of being like, we're not going to jump into staying in the same place together. And Two of Wands is saying you're open to it, especially if you're open to new adventures, you're open to going somewhere that you haven't been before, somewhere that's unfamiliar to you. But the Four of Coins makes me feel like what's actually probably going to happen is you're going to be like, no, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to see what he does. Or that you're going to be like, I'm not going to be the one to like, you know, fund this process. I would offer it up and say, yeah, I'll meet you, or I'll meet you somewhere. And he might say, okay, actually, you know, I'll come to you, unless he wants to be the person to pay for it. And I say that because the Four of Coins is kind of saying, I'm not going to open my purse. I'm not going to be the one to go out of my way to actually physically facilitate this hangout. What's interesting is the bottom card is a confirmation, is the Ten of Coins. So it is suggesting that it does to me seem like it's in alignment that you guys are going to connect. Oh, cool. He offered to pay for the ticket. Yeah. Yeah. Whether he comes to you or he offers to pay for it, to me, it seems like you're not supposed to be doing a lot. Like you're not supposed to be going out of your way to be the one who's going to make this happen. But the Four of Coins is not just about the money. It's about the groundedness of the situation. So if this is making you kind of feel awkward or kind of squirmish, saying to him like, yeah, you can come here, but you can't stay here. And if that's what's making you feel weird, then maybe it is a matter of taking him up on going there and meeting him. But for some reason, these cards are, these are like two like bookends almost for this card in general. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Like that you're gonna go, but it's gonna be like on your terms. You know what I'm saying? But Two of Wands also makes me feel like it's not just going and being in a place where you are staying in one location. It's like you guys are going to go out and do things. This is about adventure. This is about getting to know each other. This also tells me that you're keeping your options open. You're not totally honing in on this one particular person. You might go and visit him to kind of suss it out and feel it out. But there's like no guarantee on your part that you're going to be like, yes, this is a connection. This is, let's make the moves to see each other. Let's go out and do things. Let's see if we actually get along well in person, and let's feel it out. And then I'm going to come back home. So take it easy, you know? I'm just catching up with what you're saying. I already told him that. He offered to pay. That's exactly what I would rather go instead of him coming to my place. First time trying online dating thing, completely out of my comfort zone. Yeah, so that's very, very obvious with some of the cards that are coming up. So I feel like this is also maybe exploring with the Two of Wands and saying to him, okay, if I come out there, what is there to do, right? No offense to Jersey, but there's not much going on out there. Have a plan. Go to medieval times. That sounds like a really good icebreaker day. Go watch Garden State. That'll make a lot more sense. But have a plan for what you're gonna do, so you're not like held up in somebody's house and it's like some stranger, and you know nobody really knows what you guys are actually going to be actively doing together. Another idea is like if he's in Jersey, it's super close to New York, so you guys could meet in New York if you really wanted to do that. You don't necessarily have to go to Jersey. Like, have two different options is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And if he really wants to spend time with you, then I would say then, you know, he can put forth the cash, or he can put forth the time to make this happen, because you're not supposed to be the one making all the moves. I thought the same thing. He was, okay, Philly. Go somewhere where you guys are not in any one particular person's element. That's my advice. I'm not saying that because he's online. I'm saying this because I don't want to see you stuck somewhere for a couple days with someone and then be like, we're not doing anything and this is weird, you know? Maria says, ain't shit to do in Jersey. You're gonna get some good food somewhere around there. Kansas is popping. That's hilarious. We got a lot of people chiming in. Yeah, go to Philly. Go somewhere else. That's what I would recommend. And let him come up with a plan. If you're the one getting on a plane and going somewhere, have a plan. Good luck. I'm excited to see how that plays out. That's really interesting given your astrology. A lot of Scorpios are meeting people in other places with the Saturn square. So that's definitely a thing. I'm just catching up on what people are saying. Hey, Coco. Yeah, let me know your question. Jay Fabulous says, holy cow, Candace, you mentioned something along these lines in the February horoscope for Scorpio rising, that there'd be a true love or something and the potential. Yep. Yeah, it's the new moon. It is the new moon. Let me scroll back up here. So what did Susan say? Birdie told me Pluto and Aquarius equals shift, purify flow, energy of baby Saturn 29, going to reveal status of the fifth house situation. I know. My fifth house cusp is, I think it's 2 degrees. But I'm looking at the beginning of 2024. Is anybody else looking at the astrology then with like Venus and Mars and Pluto all coming into conjunction in Aquarius? It's wild. Kelsey says, he's a Gemini too. Woof. Woof. Gemini men, 0 out of 10, would not recommend. But have fun with that. That's your 8th house, so have fun with that. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, Coco, ask me whatever you'd like. Call me now for your not so free reading. Don't worry, we're still working through some of these. We've got Serena and Mari and Kiki. You guys are all on deck. Coco says, general look at my love life. What's going on with all these with the romantic love spirit? My rising Pisces wants to be romanced. Wants to be romanced. Let's see. Austin's laughing. I'm not dogging the peace stealer. He's one of my really good friends. He's one of my really good friends, but he knows I'm always talking shit about Gemini men. He knows. There it is again. Wow, we got another one. 6 of Wands, again, the same placement. 5 of Coins, the Chariot. You're ready to come out of hard times? You're ready for it, huh? It's interesting because I think like the 6 of Wands is really kind of talking about like just going through the motions right now of being like, yes, I want it, but I know that there's going to be a bit of like an ebb and flow. 5 of Coins is a little bit more challenging in the right now. And I'm just going to make an assumption based off your astrology. You're going to see, right? Venus is coming into conjunction with Neptune this month, which is great. Take lots of pictures of yourself. They're going to look fabulous. However, it's going to square Mars in your 4th house. Like, it's still all over the place in terms of the mutable squares. So there is going to be a sense of being like, okay, I'm feeling myself, and then we're kind of going back under, and then I'm feeling myself. Like, it'll phase out basically at the end of March. And you know, the transition of Saturn going through your sign is about learning how to define yourself. Unfortunately, sometimes without other people. Doesn't mean you can't be in a relationship. It's just you have to feel like it, you don't have to have others. You don't have to have others. So Venus, Neptune on your ascendant, great. Take lots of pictures, love yourself, baths, stay hydrated, you know, all that fun stuff. Buy yourself flowers, right? But I think that 5 of Pentacles is being like, it's hard to kind of keep the faith and keep the momentum of like feeling it and feeling a little out in the cold. To me, it seems like things are going to change big time over the summer. And that makes sense, especially as we get into Cancer season. This is a card that deals with Cancer. The Chariot might say like love is on the way. It's just like a seasonal thing. It might mean that you end up traveling over the summer. You end up connecting with someone. It might also talk about changes that are going on with you emotionally, where you're kind of feeling more tapped in and you're starting to kind of pick up either through the astrology, right? Or through dreams or your intuition or readings that somebody's coming in, especially Cancer type energy. There can be something like that kind of pops in. it's hard. It's hard having Mars in your 4th house because you don't feel as emotionally comfortable. And as it comes into that square with Venus and Neptune, I think there's a sense of also like, am I in the wrong place? Like, do I need to move? Do I need to be somewhere else? Do I need to go out of town for a little bit and see if like I can try being in another place and maybe that will improve? I'm not saying you should. You might ask yourself this. But I actually don't think that that's the solution, because as we start seeing, you know, transits moving through Cancer later this summer, it's going to be about wherever you're enjoying yourself, wherever you're having fun. It's not going to be limited purely to just, you know, being in one place or another, right? So the Chariot says, like, be open to maybe making some shifts emotionally in terms of what you feel like you have to go after. It might say that you have the opportunity to travel, and that might prompt something in terms of meeting with someone. Look for Cancer type signs, right? Not just because in general you're a Pisces rising, but you might find that there are more of these people that start popping in, or people who have like Cancer rising, Cancer moon, that kind of stuff. And be prepared to kind of ride the waves, because there's going to be some stuff going on where you're going to have highs and lows a little bit. And when you start feeling like, as those planets in Pisces are coming into conjunction with Neptune and making the squares, and you're feeling kind of lower energy, just take really good care of yourself, because while you have some of those Neptune placements on your ascendant, like, you're more prone to feeling under the weather physically or emotionally, right? Like, you do need to get out in the sunshine. You do need to get massages. You do need to be spending time near water. All of that stuff's really going to help kind of keep things flowing so you don't get kind of stopped up. And also Saturn, for a Pisces rising, Saturn is the ruler of your 11th and your 12th house. So it's about not isolating yourself from groups of people. So you actually have to go out there and you have to be around groups of people. So you have to socialize. You're just going to notice that you're a little bit more empathic than normal, and you're going to feel more likely to kind of get energetically slimed. So you're going to be like, I don't want to be around people. It's too much. But you got to find a way to kind of go through the motions of making connections with friends and staying consistent with your social life. And not just kind of isolating. That's probably going to be the most challenging thing, you know, because you're just going to notice that your energy levels are going to kind of come and go. So good luck. Let me know how it goes, especially as you get closer to the summertime. It looks like that's when things are going to shift. Hopefully that's helpful. 5 more minutes and then we're going to close the queue, because I have a bunch of people trying to start going to New Orleans for 10 days, starting Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras. That sounds like fun. Have a blast. Make sure you go to Island of Salvation Botanica. That's my favorite place. Go there, light a candle, because okay, so I went there. I've been there like 3 or 4 times, but the last couple times I went there with my friends, and they have like all these like voodoo altars, and you can like go and get a candle dressed, and you can leave it there. Like, take flowers or take like a little shot of booze or like coins or something. And I swear to Goddess, every single time I've gone there, everything I ask for happens. To the point where now when my friends go there, they'll call me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go there and light my candle, because everybody knows that it works. Like, it's just the freakiest thing ever. Just, I swear by it. All right, so we've got Serena, Kiki, Paula, and Mari. I got you here, don't worry. There we go. Okay. Let's take Serena and Kiki. What's up, Serena? Serena says, can you please tell me what will happen within the relationship with my husband and myself? I am a Scorpio rising, Aquarius sun, Cancer moon. Okay, so your 4th house sun. My husband is a Taurus rising, Aqua sun. His name is Tony. Just take a look. So 1 card on the relationship. You guys are getting hit with all of those eclipses still in the squares. Let's see what the cards say for you, Serena. Oh, I want that one. Wow. 4 of Wands. Celebration. This is interesting because, you know, this this is the card of marriage. This is the card of togetherness. This is the card of temporary spaces. It's a positive card, but you know, it can also be a card that when you're going through some stormy weather, it's reminding you that this is temporary, like this will pass basically. And it is about coming together and union. So it sounds like you're kind of like, what's going to happen here? Four of Wands is saying, okay, it's a temporary space. There does seem to be some sense of celebrating togetherness, like being able to potentially mend something, being in a holding pattern. This can say over the next like 4 days, 4 weeks that you're moving through this. Just knowing that you're a Scorpio rising and he's a Taurus rising. You guys are getting hit with two separate things, right? As a Scorpio rising, the South Node's in your sign, so there's a sense of clearing out things with the Self. North Node's going through your 7th, so it's about focusing on peace. North Node in Taurus is peace and stability in a relationship, right? It's kind of hard when Uranus is there. For a Taurus rising, like himself, the North Node is going through his 1st house, which means he's like, I need to be more selfish. I need to focus on my pleasure, my security. South Node's going through his 7th. So it's interesting how literally his astrology is mirroring your astrology through your 7th house. Now that doesn't mean that he gets to rule the roost or run the show, but you guys are getting bombarded with the Saturn squares, which means Taurus risings are like my direction, my work, my needs, my body, my boundaries. Scorpio risings are needing to learn. It's not all about you, it's about your partner. And also as Saturn goes through the 4th house, it's about holding space. And a lot of Scorpio risings are not dealing well with home stuff. There's home issues going on, with whether it's family or domestic stuff or whatever. So the astrology is really mirroring what you guys are going through. Yeah, you guys have different moons, but that's besides the point. For right now, looking at this card, I feel like it's saying that there is going to be something that may potentially bring you guys together. So it can be like a family gathering, it could be a party. There could be good news going on with the family, good shifts that are happening that allows you guys to focus on the union and continue to work on the marriage and grow together. This is a very positive card. So at the very least, it's saying whatever's going on, it's temporary. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Thank you, Kelsey. 1 more minute, we're gonna close readings. Get one while you still can. Scan the QR code, it'll take you there. Okay, so let me get Mari. What's up, Mari? Mari says, reading for me and my ex, Jake. Okay. Been dreaming about him a lot. I'd like to know what the purpose of these dreams is. He's a Gemini sun, Aquarius moon, Leo rising. Saturn's leaving his 7th house, girl. The train is leaving the station. Same house where his moon is, which is about clearing up karmic relationships with women. Gemini sun. So Mars going back and forth on his sun. So let's ask the cards, what is the purpose of these dreams? Ooh. Remember how I said the train's leaving the station? The Fool card. It's almost like energetically or emotionally. He's like, but wait a minute. But wait a minute. Before I leave, let me just make sure I've wrapped everything up. The Fool card. I mean, it's literally about the process of moving on. You know, it's like sometimes in situations like this, I feel like people very much do pick up on what's going on subconsciously in dreams. You know, they may not be reaching out to you or talking to you. You might not be seeing them. It might have been something that ended a long time ago, but to me, it seems like, you know, with the Fool card, there's like one foot that's about to step off the ledge where he's like, I'm moving on. But there can be a sense of him also like reflecting on the companionship aspect of the relationship that you guys had together. This is a positive card though, so I don't feel like there's any like negative feelings. There isn't even really a sense of like regret or remorse or wanting to reconnect, because I think he knows that his life is going in a different direction and he's trying to be optimistic and positive about it. But I do get the impression that there is this sense of reflecting and reviewing on the relationships before he's off to the next thing. This might be something he literally has to do energetically to open the door and make it possible for new potential relationships to begin. So this is a fresh start, right? That's basically what's going on. This is a fresh start for him. I don't think that there's anything connected to it. And equally, I feel like it may be a symbol for you with the Fool coming up that's like, okay, we're still connected, but like, is he moving on? So it can be confirmation for that, regardless of what's going on in the dream. That seems to be what's happening. And it definitely makes sense with Saturn kind of moving through his 7th house. And now, especially knowing that it's been in conjunction to his moon, you know? Hopefully that's helpful for you. Thank you, Catalina. I got you. Okay, guys, readings are closed. Readings are closed. Kelsey, I've got you. Susan, hopefully you got that place. It sounds like Coco knows all about it. That is the place to go. All right, cool. So let's move on to Kiki, Paula, Magic, Lotus. You guys are all on deck. What's up, Kiki? Holy signs and synchronicities. Today has been gnarly as fuck. Painful trying to keep my protection up, but I'm tired, girl. Any insight or messages would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Well, I'm sending you good vibes. Today has been kind of gnarly. It's the Pluto conjunction, the Mercury-Pluto. Been some weird secret communication stuff going on. Vibes are off. Vibes are off. That's what I've been saying to myself all day. All my friends have been texting me. They're like, what's going on? I'm like, the universe has a sick sense of humor. That's what's going on. Oh. Vibes are off. Vibes are off. All right, let's see if we can pull any insight for Kiki. So these are the cards that I got in this order. Whew, you know, I think that kind of sums it up. The two cards that are very positive cards that are bookending the center position. It can almost feel like physical, financial changes, like real earthly changes are happening. And these are good things. So the Ace of Coins, right? So it's saying new opportunities for physical, financial, fresh starts. It also talks a lot about things that are being offered to you. But it's painful to deal with, or it's painful to process. It also, to me, seems like growing pains. The fact that you have the Ace of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles coming up, which are two of the more positive cards that are sandwiching the Eight of Swords, which is like, I just can't see this. I can't handle this. I'm stuck. I don't want to move forward. I don't want to move on. I don't know how. It's almost like having a difficult time adjusting to so many positive things. I know that sounds weird because the contrast is so significant. So I don't know if it's that you've been used to like disappointments, or that you've been used to things not really going your way, or you've been reflecting also on all of the things that are happening that's like steamrolling you and pushing you in a brand new direction in life. And you're like, I should be happy. These are good things. Like, this is everything that I've wanted. But then there's this realization that to really possess these things, right? To physically be present and have that stuff, you can't mentally be somewhere else. Like, you can no longer mentally feel consumed by old storylines, old relationships, old fears, old habits, old ways of communicating. And maybe there's this like realization that perhaps you've allowed yourself to stay in that space, and you're just like, because of where my life is going, I can't stay there any longer, right? Or I can't communicate with certain people, or I can't think about certain people. Or I can't allow myself to be fearful anymore. So a lot of this is also about just getting out there and like allowing yourself to enjoy things right now and not feeling guilty, not feeling bad. And also like being able to show what you do have. Because there is this sense of being like, I'm afraid if I put all of my blessings out there, then I might lose them, or then they may be subject to other people, you know, talking about it, seeing it, getting envious, getting jealous, because that can happen with the Nine of Coins. And that you're afraid of like really putting all these exciting things out in the open because what might happen, right? So I could see you also being like, well, I don't want to flaunt it, or this is like really difficult. But it's saying, no, you have to be able to accept all of the good things that are coming. But for you to really possess them and be present with them, there is this need to acknowledge that there is like an older version of you, or even like your life that is coming to a close, right? A lot of this is also reminding yourself that you're worthy of these things, that you've worked hard for these things, that you deserve these things. Because the Eight of Swords can be like this mental mindset that's just like things don't work out, everything falls apart, nothing, gold can stay. And it's like reminding you like, no, this is definitely where it's going, So I think a lot of this is also just reminding yourself that you've really worked hard for some of the stuff that's kind of coming into your life in this next year. And some of the blessings that are on the way. These are growing pains. That's basically what I would call this. And allow yourself to enjoy the time that you're in, because I also feel like it's reminding you that you're only going to have so much time for yourself. You're only going to have so much time to spoil yourself. You're only going to have so much time to enjoy what you've been working hard for. Don't let all the mental stuff in your brain distract you and make you feel bad for moving on. Right? Other people had their chance, as much as I hate to say that. And those are really great financial cards. That might not even be what you care about right now. You might be like, everything's fine and I'm not worried about it for the first time. I'm worried about X, Y, and Z. Be present with the things that are going on right now because it's very positive for you. Good night, Susan. Thank you, Jen. I got you. Paula, Magic Lotus. Paula, what's your question, girl? Let me know. I know you're still in there somewhere. It's not past your bedtime yet, right? Magic Lotus wants a Vday love reading. There she is. Paula says, health and job. I'm having way out there dreams. And did you see that movie, Megan? It's on Apple TV. I have not. Maybe I should watch it. Some of the stuff I've been watching lately has just been, it's been out there. I like binge watched all of White Lotus. I liked that a lot. And I found this really weird show that's called Love Off the Grid. You guys have to watch it. It's like watching a train wreck. It's really, I can't stop watching it. I mean, now it's over, but it's like about all these people who are having love in extreme situations, and it's a lot. Okay, Megan, it's on Apple. It's on Apple. Mari, years past, we just did it. It was one before last. You'll be able to scroll back and watch this. All right, so let's see what Paula needs to know. Yellowstone. Is that Kevin Costner? Is that the documentary? There's like two of them. I don't really like TV. I really don't. All right, so I got it in this order. I've noticed a lot of Nine of Wands. People are like, I'm tired. I'm tired. Paula, Wheel of Fortune, Strength card, and Nine of Wands coming up. So you have questions about health and job. Here's the deal. Off the bat, the first two cards are positive, but it does seem like there does need to be a sense of shifting things around and focusing more on health and healing. So the Nine of Wands, notice he's like having trouble standing up. His head is bandaged. He's like, I don't know how much more I can take. I don't know how I can go on. The Wheel of Fortune is saying there are situations at play right now that are really testing you, okay? They're not negative, but they're testing you. And the Wheel of Fortune, it swings. So it goes up and it goes down. So it's saying in the end, it's going to be fine. There's a lesson to be learned here, or there's something going on that's trying to kind of like redirect your energy. The Strength card, this is talking about literally feeling like maybe you're trying to force the situation. You're like, okay, I just need this like health issue to go away, right? But that's not really how it works. Or I just need this like work situation to clear itself up. Or I just need to go and, put in a couple more hours. Or I need to fix this thing or train that person or like whatever. And you're like realizing that you're trying to do something, but you're hitting a wall. You have two major arcana cards coming up right now. So personally, I feel like this is saying you can't force things. You have to really listen to the universe. And if the universe is trying to intervene, it's trying to get you to either have more downtime, rest, recuperate, or figure out like how to just be on the mend Sometimes when I see the Nine of Wands come up like this, people are having issues walking, people are having issues standing, people are having issues seeing straight. This can also be talking about feeling like you are unwilling to back down, that you're like, no, I'm going to fix this, it's going to be fine. And you have the energy and the wherewithal to do it, but you're not letting like your spirit rest. This does also make me feel like I would really pay attention with what has been happening since the full moon in Leo. Just knowing your chart, I know you got a lot of Scorpio and a lot of Taurus. And so like that Leo moon in the 4th house was trying to kind of bring you back home or kind of ground you out. Or focusing on what's going on with the family, focusing on what's going on emotionally, focusing on what's going on with the kids. So this is kind of referencing what's been happening since that particular full moon. You know, you got Uranus coming, it's still in conjunction to your moon. So there is going to be themes revolving around like, you know, rest and recuperation and changes going with your energy level and also your sleep schedule. You can overcome it. I mean, the minor arcanas can be changed, right? They're changeable in nature, but it's basically saying don't push it to the point where you feel like you can't bounce back. And the Strength card is saying don't push things. Like allow yourself to be gentle, like really focus on the heart of the situation. Part of it might be energetic. Part of it might be also about giving yourself a little bit of a break and not making yourself feel bad for not getting things done. And the Wheel of Fortune is saying like things can change very quickly if you're learning to really kind of nurture the situation rather than feeling like you have to push it. Kristen says, I want to move to the country now. Paula, let me know what's going on. Work-wise, doesn't seem to be about work, unless you're feeling like there's things going on that are out of your control. It has less to do with work. It has more to do with health. Let me know. Well, well, health, yeah. Yeah, you're looking at something that you're going to be probably working through, especially all the way through this summer. Okay, you had your MRI. I get the impression that with the Wheel of Fortune, regardless of what the outcome is, it's basically saying like it's changeable. Like things could definitely be worse, but I'm curious to see what the results were. Seeing a neurologist. Really pay attention to like your depth perception. Pay attention also to mobility and like walking. And also just pay attention to like your stability, because those are the things that come up the most with the Nine of Wands. You know? I know that we talked a little bit about like communication stuff, but this seems like it might be more than that, or that you're feeling like it's affecting one side of the body more than the other. Yeah. That's what the Nine of Wands is. But the Strength card is saying like things are going to be like on the mend. I also wonder if there's going to be some other type of like healing modality that you end up doing over the summer that's going to help kind of realign things. And also, you know, Jupiter will be coming into conjunction with your ascendant. It's not going to be till next year, but I feel like whatever you've got going on, especially with the Uranus transits, one of the eyes, one side of the body, one side of the brain. That's not unusual when you're seeing this happening with fixed squares. And you've got eclipses. Watch for that eclipse. That's going to be at the beginning of May. It's going to be in your 6th house, close to your natal placements. Another one in March. You're looking at dealing with this stuff through the summer. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you can't rush the process. You have to be gentle with yourself throughout this process, because you're learning something about this, right? The Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, everybody's sending Paula good vibes, because we want to see that you're able to bounce back and also not feeling like you have to handle everything by yourself, right? Sometimes the Strength card can also be about like younger people aiding and jumping in and like helping as well, of any kind. Could be kids, could be friends, right? Please keep me updated on that, Paula. Let's see, who else do we have here? Magic Lotus. Magic Lotus wants a love reading for Valentine's Day. Okay, let's do it. Brandon, Jules, Cindy, Austin, Elle. You're welcome, Paula. Stacy, Kelsey, Robert, you guys are all on here, don't worry. And I've also got my other two here, Catalina, and also thank you for your generosity, JFab. If you want a card, I'll pull one for you. Okay, so let's see. Magic Lotus. Love reading. What are you guys doing for Valentine's Day? What are you doing for Valentine's Day? She says, I'm currently single. Well, you should go out and get a drink and mingle. 9 of Cups. I couldn't think of a better card. This is about getting what you want, knowing what you want. This is also a card that's about standard. Sometimes it can be about excess, but I see this as being like, I'm really pleased with what I get. Setting intentions, having those intentions come to fruition. But also it's like he's specific, right? 9s take time to like fully manifest. So I don't think it's just kind of like, oh, I want this thing. Because if you're not specific, we know that like anybody can just show up on your front door. But knowing that all of the boxes are checked. But also going out, having fun, having a good time, feeling complete and being like, I'm just here to enjoy the scene, or I'm just here to kind of mingle with people, or like I'm doing great with me, and that is what brings people in. Cups are about emotions. It can be also talking about like the wish card, getting exactly what you're asking for. But if you have been focusing on manifesting and getting what you want, you're going to get it. I like, I don't have it here right now, but I used it, I think, last week for my weeklies, or for one of my videos. I did the after tarot. And I pulled this card for somebody. I don't know which sign it was, but then you like see him and he's like got this like feast. And so I think it's cool that it talks about like basically like getting everything that you've been asking for. Right? Been a hermit mode, excuse me, working from home on my business. Well, it's time to go out. Go out and do something. It is time to go out and do something. And also, you don't have to go out with other people. You can go out by yourself, right? But if you've been really focusing on manifesting, it looks like you're going to get it. It takes time for those specifics to show up. Let us know. The astrology is really good for Valentine's Day. You go to Venus-Neptune conjunction. So I'm not wild about the 15th or the 16th because you're going to have a moon square, but definitely the 14th. There's something going on there. You can feel it for a couple days. This is kind of hilarious. So somebody donated a birthday reading for David. Davers, are you still here? My dad's always watching. He's always in the chat. It's his birthday tomorrow. And he has never gotten a reading on one of these lives. He's always like the hype man though. So somebody has donated a 3-card reading for David. David says, oh God. Do you have a specific question? Do you want to ask the tarot something specific? I'm gonna have to retire this deck soon. This thing's falling apart. All right, you're just gonna get 3 cards. That's what's gonna happen. We're just gonna serve it up. These are the cards that came up in this order. 2 of Wands, the Fool, the Page of Wands. I like this for you. This is very fun. Two of Wands is about assessing the direction that you're going to be going in, especially in regards to like creative projects or potentially even like on a trip. It's bumpy because of the aspects that's going on with, I don't know, is it Mercury? What's going on right now? Where's the moon right now? I don't even know. The moon is in Libra? Trine? Oh, it's the Mercury-Pluto conjunction. Yeah, but you're okay. There's a trine. So basically, Two of Wands is basically saying like assessing what direction you're going in with creative projects. It could be travel, could be thinking about like where is the next adventure, especially with the Fool card coming up, which is kind of hilarious because there's like a little dog there and it definitely looks like your little dog. But the Fool is about taking chances, new opportunities, new beginnings, adventures. And going into something blind or going into something and like taking a chance or taking a risk. Usually when these two cards come up together, it's like talking about venturing into uncharted territory, like literally or figuratively, especially with like creative projects. So I'm wondering, like, are you planning on going somewhere? Are you starting a new project? Are you thinking about getting involved in something like the very first time, right? Kind of starting from scratch. Page of Wands comes up. A lot of fire energy. So the pages are always talking about learning a new skill, trying something out, training in an area. It does talk about kind of trial and error. Something in regards to also something that might be a little bit more creative. This can also represent younger people. So this can be saying like going and doing something with a younger person, going and getting active, having fun. I think if you're planning on going somewhere, like that makes sense with some of these cards that you might be figuring out over the next like 2 weeks or so, somewhere you can go that's close by that you may be able to take the dog, or possibly just focusing on going and doing something by yourself, exploring something new, right? But the Fool card might be the card that's, you know, being that it's in the middle, this is the energy that you're working with on your birthday. So if you are having an air trine on your birthday, moon and sun in a trine with Saturn, it's like, where can I go and explore new places and like develop new relationships, making new friends, connecting with new people, and not really having a plan. That's something else, is that the Fool doesn't really have a plan. It just kind of haphazardly is like, here we go, you know? I like the Wands though. I think that the Wands are talking about creative projects, and I also feel like this is about going and finding people who you might be connecting with, who are giving you recommendations. So I don't think it's like planning something. I think it's like just showing up somewhere and being like, hey, where would you go out to eat? Or like, what should I check out while I'm here? Right? Planning a day trip, cool. Take the dog with you. Looks like it'll be fun. He has a 3-legged dog. Hope you have a happy birthday. Good luck. Thanks for the donation. We got Brandon, Jules, Cindy, and I want to make sure I don't forget. I got Catalina and J Fabulous. You guys are in here too. Don't worry, I'll get a card for you. One card for each leg. Ba-doom-tsh. That's hilarious. Brandon wants a message from Spirit. All right, we can do that. Spirit, are you there? Ooh, that one. That one. Here we go. We got 8 of Cups coming up for you, my guy. It reminds me of, I feel so stupid saying this. I don't know why this came to mind. It reminds me of like the Dewey Cox movie, you know, where he does like the song where he's making fun of Johnny Cash, where he says like, walk hard, like just moving on. That's kind of what that reminds me of. I don't know why that popped into my head. But 8 of Cups is like picking up your stuff and moving on. You're going somewhere. This might be like deciding that you're finally making a decision about where you're going based off of where you've been. Okay, so this can be less about travel, more about being like, okay, I'm not going back there, or I've learned my lesson in this situation. We're moving on to the next phase. leaving someone or something behind, no longer feeling like you need to carry something with you emotionally or energetically. So it can also represent this feeling of like, that's just too heavy for me to carry. I just have to finally let this go. I have to let this be. And it's also a reminder that you're not looking in the rearview mirror. So there is some sense of being like, not only am I walking away, but like I'm making a conscious effort to not emotionally keep rehashing that situation or feeling the need to bring it with me on my trip moving forward. Yeah, it does have a Saturn energy to it, but it also still, people don't realize like the South Node that's been in Scorpio the last couple weeks, when it was at 8 degrees, now it's at 6, but when it was at 8 degrees, like that was such a significant purge. Then it went to 7, it does deal with other people, but now it's sitting at 6. So it can be about habits, it can be about emotional habits, it can be about where you're working, it can be about your daily routines. So sometimes when the 8 of Cups comes up, it can also mean like, man, I just can't do this thing anymore. I can't eat this way, I can't drink this way, I can't continue to be so fixated on something emotionally. So there is like a lot of clearing that's going on. So it is rather supportive. Especially for, now your chart ruler is direct, I think, right? I can't remember. I know you have Taurus in the first house, but I think you're in Aries rising. So now you really do feel like you have the energy to go full steam ahead. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We got Juliana, 3 cards, please. Let's see. Anything in particular, Jules, or you just want those 3 cards? Ooh. Ooh. Hello. I will leave that one out. That one jumped out. I put a question on here. Let's see. Where was it? Sorry, it must have been way back there. Is my last romantic partner hurting me on purpose or doesn't care about me? He's a Gemini. I'll try to answer that in the least biased way as physically possible. Strength card, Ace of Pentacles, and 10 of Wands. I'm just going to be really honest with you. To me, my interpretation of this is like, first of all, you're solid. So even though you may not necessarily feel that way, but this is your feeling solid. This can be a card that's about being petty sometimes when it comes to other people, depending on what's around it. But the Strength card, the Ace of Pentacles, and the 10 of Wands is like somebody didn't get their way. Somebody didn't get the last word. Somebody didn't get the response that they wanted. Somebody didn't necessarily, feel like there was something that was complete, right? So something about that, the Strength card literally, that in regards to relationships, sometimes it's about like forcing a situation. Sometimes it can also be talking about struggling with something. So they have to do something to disrupt the balance to try to get a reaction, right? So it's funny because I look at this and I'm like, okay, so you've been in the process of trying to work through something and healing and trying to kind of have yourself move on. Ace of Pentacles can be physical things that are just very obvious and very apparent, or things that involve like money or material goods, or, I want this back, or posting things or doing things very physically to gain attention, or it's like kind of like a look at what I've got mentality, especially if it does deal with other people. And then we've got the 10 of Wands, which is basically saying like still picking up their stuff and moving on, like having a difficult time, perhaps moving on. So that could be going on as well here, that, maybe they didn't get the response that they were looking for when the relationship kind of ended, and maybe they haven't really kind of, gotten over it. So there can be a sense of like flaunting things with the Strength card. So when you're saying, are they trying to hurt you? No, but I think that there can be this sense of, who are they trying to convince? Other people or themselves that they've moved on, right? So sometimes the Strength card is like look at what I have with the Ace of Pentacles. There's like a sense of pride that can kind of come with that. Look at what I have. I'm doing so great without you. Look at my life without you. And you're like, this is kind of hurtful. Like, where is this coming from? but they're doing it because it's their way of trying to convince themselves that they've moved on, that they're happy, that they're good, that their life is great. But there is a lot of effort that seems to be going into that with the Ten of Wands. So it's to me, it seems like there might be some things that are a little overkill, right? So I don't think it's intentionally trying to hurt you. Like, I don't think that's what this is, but I do think that somebody's going out of their way to convince themselves that they've moved on. And it seems like a little, it looks a little extra to me, just looking at the cards. But I don't think it's intentionally to be thrown in your face, no. Hey, Serena. Did we do your reading? Yes, we did. You're gonna have to scroll back a little bit. It's right after Kelsey. You got a single card. It was a good one. Hopefully that is helpful for you, Jules. Cindy, Austin, and Elle, you guys are all on deck. You're welcome. Let's see, let me get these guys here. Thank you for your donation, Jay Fabulous. I will pull a card for you. Ooh, what a great card. I know you didn't ask for one, it was a donation, but look at you with the Empress card coming up. Nurturing, maternal, births, creativity, lots of Venus energy, what you're creating, nurturing and taking care of something, growth, life. It's interesting because to me, like, this is very much the card that's like for springtime. Like, this is very much like the March kind of April time, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. But I think that this is also about generosity and like paying things forward and things that come back to you, which is kind of interesting considering that you're just making a donation and you were asking for a card. But I think this is about what you're focusing on growing or nurturing right now. It can be like your mother, your role in terms of being a mom, if you are a mom, or just thinking about what you're creating and like what you're focusing on in terms of like life, right? And also taking care of and nurturing yourself. Hopefully that's helpful. We've got Catalina. She says, hey Candace, I'd like to know about my real estate investing business. What can I expect moving forward? I have a mentorship around me. I'm manifesting other people's money and funds. Aries rising, Cancer sun, Gemini moon. Well, interesting. So Mars is direct. You got Jupiter in your sign. And you got Mars going into Cancer soon, so that's interesting. All right, let's take a look. It's good that you have somebody to guide you, knowing that Saturn's going into your whole sign 12th. All right, so let's see what you need to know about your real estate stuff. Readings are closed. Readings are closed. Two of Wands coming up for you. So this is about like positive, fortunate things being on the horizon. This also makes me feel like there's about guidance moving forward and like how this is opening doors for other things. So I mean, obviously, you know, real estate, but the next steps, it's like, okay, then you're making money and you have connections to people and they're investing and they're buying. But you might find with Saturn in your 12th house that there is just also working with foreigners or working with people behind the scenes. So there can be a sense of like maybe working with people who are wanting to do this for travel. That's the other way that I could look at it. But Two of Wands is basically saying you're optimistic and fortunate in your circumstances right now, that this is only the beginning, that a lot of potential is awaiting you. I think it's cool that he's holding a globe because it makes me feel like you're considering, okay, I can start doing this now, but how could this expand? Do I do it in other places? Do I make money so I can travel, so I can continue to learn? Am I going to be investing, right? So it's the very beginning of that and just taking the first steps. But I think that there's a lot of potential in the future for this for you. I do. And also I like the fact that there's options. And so I don't know if this is about you being like, okay, I can do residential, I can do commercial. But with the Two of Wands, it's like, okay, like how are all the different ways that I can actually practice this in particular? Hopefully that's helpful. I'm gonna give you guys a running list of who I have on my list. Cindy, Austin, L, sorry. Hello. Let me start over. We've got, was that Jules? Who was that? Okay, so we got Jules. Cindy, Austin, L, Stacy, Kelsey, Robert. Okay, so that's who I have left. That's who I have left. Sorry, Miss C. I'll catch you next time. I'll be around next Friday. All right, so let's do Cindy. Austin and Elle, you guys are on deck. Cindy says, 3-card reading for heart and love. You got it. I like that 44. Thank you. Kind of switching it up a little bit there. Cindy wants to know for heart and love, what is going on? Here we go. I swear to you, if I pull this card one more time. And this episode is brought to you by the Strength card. It just keeps coming back up. It keeps coming back up. So it was in this order for you, Cindy. Six of Swords, excuse me, the Lover's card, and the Strength card. What is going on here? Okay, so are you in limbo with somebody, or are you focusing on moving on? Which of the two is it? 11th house mystic says the full moon in Leo is still lurking. It will continue to lurk, yes, until the new moon. I'm over it. I'm over it. That was not a fun full moon for me. If you are here, Cindy, six of Swords, kind of like being in limbo, being in between, moving to places where you're going to feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more stable, a little bit more secure. It can be talking about moving. Like, what's going on here? Oh, is that you? Okay. Love reading. Would love to know how my path love is looking ahead. Currently dealing with a heartache. I was seeing someone, we shared a deep connection and pulled away because of the connection, just got out of an 8-year relationship and he told me he wants to be friends. Okay, so that's you. Okay. I was like, what? So there it is. So there's the kind of like moving on. I do feel like this is going to take a little bit of time. What's really interesting is that, like, I see the 6 of Swords as the need to get in the boat and get to the other side, because there's going to be more opportunity. There's going to be, and you're still going to question things. Okay. So like the 6 of Swords just wants to get to the other side of the river. It wants to get you to somewhere where there's going to be more stability. Keep in mind that the boat has a bunch of swords on it. It's surrounded by water. So it's basically saying you're in a situation where you feel like you're on pins and needles, and you don't feel totally stable. And there is a sense of potentially if you rock the boat, you kind of get tipped over and it could be dangerous. So that person couldn't stay right now. The Lover's card does talk about being at a crossroads. So it can suggest that perhaps maybe, you know, there's somebody else who's going to come closer to like May, June. This is about Gemini time. It also talks about like divine union and relationships. So if you're like, hey, I really want a relationship, I want to meet someone, I want to connect with someone, it's basically saying there's more likelihood this is going to be happening pretty much May through about like, let's say August. I do feel like this will pass though, because the 6 of Swords is basically saying like there needs to be a bit of a timeout or a break, perhaps from dating, not necessarily just this person, but like dating in general, right? The Lovers can be 2 people. It can be a Gemini. It can be that you're moving forward and you connect with somebody and then somebody comes back. So you need to be mindful of that. And it does talk about choices and temptation. And I think what you're going to realize is more the person that comes in may serve as like showing you like contrast to where you've been. So if there was this really strong connection to this person and you were like, okay, I really like them, but they weren't ready and it wasn't like the right timing and like I kept trying to push for it, but like they just weren't ready, so I had to walk away. The Lovers card can bring somebody that's just like, they are ready, they are showing up, they're saying all the right things, and you're like, this is crazy because I was really trying to make it work with this other person and they make me feel like I wasn't good enough, but now I meet somebody else and they're showing me how easy relationships can be. Here comes the Strength card. Oh, thank you. Aqua Sun, Leo Rising, Libra Moon. Woof! Scorpio Sun, Gemini Rising, and Moon. So he's got Mars retrograde on his ascendant. Okay. I would say you're getting hit hard with the Aquarius and the Leo stuff. Really, it's going to be up to you. So if you've got Sun in the 7th, that is delayed relationships sometimes in marriages. There can be a sense of other people kind of having some dominance. And now that you're getting ready to see Saturn finally leave your 7th house and go into the 8th, there is a period of focusing on like deeper connection and intimacy. So keep in mind also, just knowing your astrology, man, to be a Leo rising, like Uranus in your 10th house, Jupiter's going to go into your 10th house, you're going to have a Venus retrograde on your ascendant, like where Leo risings have just totally taken it in the shorts like the whole last 2 years, this summer, you're going to realize that there's like this sense of like Stella getting her groove back and having a say in whatever she wants, right? So it's cool because the Lovers card comes up really referencing this period, basically being like, look, the summer's going to be fine. You might have your hands full. There might be too many cooks in the kitchen. And then the Strength card is basically saying there's more of this focus and emphasis on what is right for you, what relationships are going to be honoring you, and allowing you to be the one who calls the shots, maybe. This is very Gemini Leo energy, you know? Yeah, and I think a lot of it's also, it's the Pluto transit that's coming also is going to be like really big for you guys because you're only going to be focusing on being in relationships with people who definitely in a very big way want to change and transform their private life. So I think you have a lot to look forward to with that transit. It's going to be a long one, so you don't need to worry about it right now. But I would say look to the summer for things to be shifting and the possibility to be connecting maybe with more Leo or Gemini energies. But I have a feeling there's going to be 2 people. I think it's going to be about 2 people coming in. Hi, bottom of the deck is the Emperor as confirmation. So that is definitely saying there is a significant relationship that's coming in. Somebody who is going to be more assertive and more direct. And I think that perhaps maybe you kind of need that. So that way you can kind of see through contrast with this other person that there is no need for you to just like wait, right? That there's nothing wrong. Hopefully that's helpful. Good luck. We've got Austin and then L. Here we go. Hey, Candace. I'm back. I hope you've been well. Damn, things have been so slow since February hit. The foot soaking really helped my corona, by the way. Thanks for your recommendation. Not sure if you remember my situation. The love life has been dead and then all of the drama of Mars retrograde, although my long-term ex is starting to reach back out again, which is making me a little skeptical and cautious. Lately, I've been putting a lot of work into mental and physical healing. I work in the film industry. I'm about to start a new production and pulling my own tarot, which is making me nuts. Anyways, what does the month look like to you? Okay. Here we go. Well, I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. Let's take a look. The X is reaching back out. Were you a Sag rising? I don't remember. Remind me what your big 3 were. Pulling your own tarot can definitely be like pulling your hair out, you know? It's not always the easiest thing to do. Yeah, I was Sag rising, I remember now. What does the month look like to me? Well, really interesting cards that you have here. Couldn't have picked better ones myself. These are probably the cards I would pick. 2 of Cups, 10 of Cups, Wheel of Fortune. Hi, this is very relationship-y. Just as a fun reminder, you're not out of the Mars-Neptune squares until the second half of March. So just keep that in mind. This idea of the potential confusion with relationships in the past and whether or not the past is repeating itself or if you're moving forward is still a theme. Two of Cups, joining with other people, unions, togetherness, people offering to spend time with you, asking you if you want to go out and do things and reconnect. 10 of Cups is talking about emotional fulfillment, joy, happiness, happily ever after, feeling really stoked for the outcome of what's been going on with you emotionally. I actually think it's less about, oh, somebody's going to show up and sweep you off your feet and it's going to be like happy ever after. Sure, you could say that, but I think this is about you really realizing like, I have to be in a place where I feel good before I meet another person, right? And so maybe it is the ex saying, hey, let's get together. You want to do something? But I don't think so. I think this is saying like, you know, when you're going to be ready and feeling like you're out and about and capable of socializing. When you do, you'll know, you'll go out and you'll do something. And the 10 of Cups is saying like there is some sense of emotional fulfillment. Sometimes the 10 of Cups is being like, I'm good. I feel like I don't need to go back there. Well, I'm in a really good place. Why would I want to necessarily connect? It might also mean that there's new people popping into your life who are like, hey, do you want to get together? And you're like, okay, I've got, you know, the ex and I've also got this new potential person. And it looks like you're going to be really stoked about the decision that you make because it's going to feel more fulfilling. Wheel of Fortune is also saying like fortune being in your favor. And so I think for a lot of Sag risings, the Mars retrograde in general has definitely been a lot about whether or not you're going to take the bait from the previous relationship, right? And if you don't take the bait and if you clear that relationship out, generally what happens is literally on the other side of that transit is that pot of gold rainbow moment where you meet somebody and it's like the spell is broken and you're like, that's the person I should have met, or like, that's a better match for me. I wouldn't have met this person had I been taking up with my past. So the shadow period will bite you in the butt literally just as much as the retrograde. So don't sleep on those transits. There can be a sense of going back and forth and being like future past, future past, future past. And like, you're going to get rewarded if you fully move forward and you hold space for the best emotional connection that you could potentially have. I just turned her down when she tried to meet me today and it made me feel empowered. Like, you're going to get rewarded basically. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get rewarded. And with the Wheel of Fortune, it's kind of saying fortune is in your favor. She was a Scorpio stellium. Block everything. Block everything. And I think also just, you know, can be really hard. I mean, obviously Scorpio stelliums like that, they're not for the faint of heart. They're not for everybody unless you have a real strong Pluto, you know, or Mars signature in your chart. But if you're Sag rising and you have somebody who you're in a relationship with who had a stellium of planets in your 12th house, that is your blind spot. Like, you never know what you're going to get there. I'm not advocating and saying you shouldn't date your 12th house, okay? But inherently, it is karmic. There is some clearing out to do. So I'm always a little hesitant when they have their sun, their rising, their moon, their Venus, their Mercury in your 12th house, because it's like, well, you're just clearing something out, you know? And also that'll like seep into your subconscious, and that's hard having a Sag rising because people don't realize how challenging Scorpio in the 12th can be. I guess my point is this, like, let the past be in the past, okay? Pay attention to new offers and things that are coming in. Like, the universe is gonna give you like all kinds of cosmic gold stars and kudos for the fact that you were willing to kind of move forward, right? And you were able to kind of go beyond just the immediate gratification of the Two of Cups. You know you can have somebody right away, but I think there's this realization that you're learning that's like, I could have that connection right away, or I could hold space for something that's gonna be more fulfilling and potentially even longer lasting, right? So watch for that really up until the end of March. That's how long that square is going to be active. And good luck with your production stuff, although a lot of that stuff seems like more emotional, honestly. But it's good. Thank you, Austin. We've got Elle, Stacy, Kelsey. Elle, Stacy, Kelsey, Robert. Elle says 3-card tarot. We're going to do a Friday night where you guys are going to read my tarot. How does that sound? I don't want to go and get a tarot reading because I'm afraid somebody's going to know who I am and then they're going to know all my secrets. That's why I can't get a reading. How am I going to get a reading? All right, so this is for Elle. Elle, this was the order that I pulled these cards in for you. Page of Swords, Chariot, Ace of Swords. Ooh, girl. You planning on having a chit chat with someone? You need to have a conversation? You need to give somebody a piece of your mind? Are you making plans in regards to going somewhere? Something involving a vehicle? Feeling very emotionally charged in regards to telling somebody what's on your mind? Telling somebody what direction you're going in. Contracts, leases, moves, vehicles, talking to siblings, talking to family. This seems to be like a big theme right now. Page of Swords, this is the very beginning process of communication and ideas, although obviously we know like a little kid with a sword is kind of a dangerous situation. So it's kind of saying there could be some tossing some ideas around or tossing some words around or haphazardly saying something or maybe agreeing to something or talking about something and then it just kind of grows legs and runs. So there's like playing around with the idea of doing something, kind of toying with it, and then it's like, okay, here we go, we're gonna do it. And you're like, oh my goodness. So there is a sense of communication picking up, retaining something picking up, like information that you're learning or something that you're practicing. This can also mean that the Chariot card and the Ace of Swords is about making a real significant decision about how you want to feel, or maybe feeling a little bit more emotionally charged, being really direct about talking about your feelings, not holding things in any longer. I like how you go from a page to an ace, which is like, okay, I think I can, to being like, no, we're doing it. But definitely feeling more emotionally charged. It's much more challenging to kind of hold back how you're feeling and what's on your heart. Be very mindful of, like I said, signing leases, buying cars, possibly even making decisions about traveling and trips. You know, the Ace of Swords is swift and it's direct. So I'm wondering if this is like a contract you have to sign, or having to give somebody some heads up or some idea about when you're visiting, when you're going to be traveling, when you're going to be moving. Look for some of this stuff. And also intuition, right? Because the Chariot's about listening to that inner guidance to be able to direct the direction that you're going in. So I wonder if you start doing some dream interpretation, some journaling, if you're doing some meditation, right? Maybe you're listening to horoscopes. Maybe you're focusing more on just developing your intuition so you know when to make moves. But to me, this seems like there's some important news or something that's going to come very quickly. And it may prompt you having to travel, or it may prompt you having to give a response. And needing to know when to say something, like letting your intuition be the guide as to how to respond. Take your time. Don't rush through things right now, because I feel like with the Page of Swords, there is a sense of being like, yeah, I'm going to catch on, and you have to like catch on, or you have to learn, or you have to respond to something very quickly. And the Chariot is all about getting your ducks in a row. So it's about making sure everything's done the appropriate way, making sure that you're not rushing through things, making sure that you're kind of checking all of the boxes before you send something off. This could be as simple as, you know, having a chance opportunity to have a meeting with somebody and starting to put something together, and you're typing out an email and then you accidentally hit send and you send it too soon and you're like, oh my God, now I'm not hearing back from them. So it's saying think through everything, right? Yes, listen to your intuition, but don't let emotions have an effect on ultimately how you're communicating in the long term. Plan this out. Hopefully that's helpful for you. And if that doesn't make sense, watch for news coming in regards to your family, especially if you got some air signs in your family: Libras, Geminis, Aquariuses. I got Stacy, Kelsey, and then Robert. Stacy and Kelsey, do you guys have particular questions? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Stacy and Kelsey. Okay, so Robert does. So we'll get to that in a second. Stacy. Is my coworker obsessed with me too, or just having an intense connection with everyone? It feels so intense when he's around. It's almost like he's reading my mind. I'm not sure what the heck is going on. Well, that's a fun question. All right. So let's see what's going on with Stacy's coworker. And then Kelsey, if you have a question, let me know. So what is going on with this coworker? Is he obsessed with you? Is he trying to wear your skin, girl? Cap, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Pisces ascendant. Venus and Mars are in Aquarius. Ooh, at least it's in the second house. Jupiter and Saturn and Scorpio. Okay, so these are the cards that I got. Holy cow. Holy cow. Sun and Moon. Well, they're kind of closed off, you know? Thank you. Ace of Cups definitely is like an indication of an emotional connection. Like there is an interest there. But it also talks about him just being like really sensitive and really empathic, and he like picks things up. I'm not wild about the 8 of Swords and the 10 of Swords, because I feel like that's suggesting either he feels a little limited in like how to connect because there's some fears of vulnerability. It can also talk about him being hurt and being afraid of rejection and not really knowing how to deal with it. I do feel inclined to tell you that it's starting with the Ace of Cups, but it's ending with the 10 of Swords. And so that's not necessarily a really great indication that this would be something that would go over very well. So I'm just telling you this now. I feel like the Ace of Cups is like the immediate connection and the attraction and feeling like, yeah, he's picking up on things. You guys can kind of read each other, but that may end up being something down the road that does not, it doesn't play out well, right? It's like it happens very quickly, but that person hasn't processed and worked through a lot of things, so they're not totally available, even though there is something there. And then the 10 of Swords makes me feel like that ends up kind of biting you in the ass. The fact that he can read you so well, and that there is a sense of not having any boundaries, or maybe ultimately when you decide to be like, actually, I'm good, like, I don't think I'm interested, it can be very difficult to kind of sever and cut that connection. And you know me, I'm not generally a negative reader, but that doesn't look so positive. So I'm wondering what the deal is. Are you vibing with him? Feels so intense when he's around. I feel like this is a situation where you've got somebody who definitely can read you, but I don't think that's going to be good in the end, because I think you're going to see that one or the two of you guys are going to get hurt, you in particular, because there can be a sense of him being able to read into the situation so much. And keep in mind, okay, something has not been dealt with. So the right now card, the 8 of Swords, can be you being like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm opening up to this. No, he's not crazy. This isn't crazy, but I feel like there is a sense of letting on that he is way more available than he actually is. And I don't think he's as available as he's portraying himself to be. Cap, Sun, Moon, Mercury is always going to have like a focus, but Pisces ascendant and Venus, Mars, and Aquarius is in his natal 12th house. So Mars and Venus there's going to be secret admirers and people he's going to like and people who are going to like him, but he doesn't always act on it, right? Because it's in his 12th house. And that's all square Saturn and Scorpio. So no, I don't think he's crazy, but I do think that does seem to suggest that he will keep people at a safe distance, right? Just in general. And I think that anybody who's got Venus square Saturn, they're still working out issues in regards to availability, self-esteem, love, and give. There is an attraction there, but be careful, because he definitely can sense that you're opening up, and too much vulnerability or too much transparency can actually be the downfall of the relationship. I'm not saying to be closed off, but he's not as totally worked through some of his old issues as you think. And in the end, with that 10 of Swords coming up, and Judgment is the confirmation card, that's making me feel like I wouldn't immediately be like, oh my God, we connect, like you're reading my mind. Like I wouldn't let him know that. Basically, I wouldn't let him know that, because that's going to give him way too much confirmation that he can kind of like read you. And I think that he's going to use that to his advantage, not because he's intentionally doing it, but he's doing that because he's going to feel like, oh, she's comfortable with me. It is important to kind of keep your guard up. No, I don't think so. I don't think he's doing that with everyone. You know, people who have Venus in the 12th house, like they have admirers, but they're not always aware of it. That's what I've noticed. They're not always aware of it. There's people who like them, but they don't always see it. So he may just have that energy about him where everybody can kind of tell that he's just got something about him, but he doesn't always pick up on it. But there's an interest there. Ace of Cups, there's an interest there. Just be careful with how transparent you are with him. I wouldn't tell him that you're so aware of that as much as you are. You'll see. And the more that you get to know him with Venus in the 12th square Saturn, and he's going through his Neptune transits, he's not as available as he's going to make himself out to be. Come back. I want to hear more about this one, because those two cards are dicey. Usually men who have Venus square Saturn, there's like this sense of like everything I love, I lose, you know? And that becomes ingrained in them sometimes. So there's a fear of getting too close. Let's see. Where was the other? Oh, there's Kelsey. Just a general reading from my mom, Angela. She doesn't have a specific question really at the time. She just wants a reading. Good luck, Stace. All right, so this is for Kelsey's mom. The Venus retrograde in Leo later this year will be in his whole sign's 6th house. That Venus retrograde is going to be a doozy. It's going to square Jupiter and Uranus, and it will conjunct Mars. And it will trine the North Node. It's going to be wild. It's going to be super dramatic. I think, dare I say, I think Bennifer are going to break up. I know that sounds like horrible. I think they're going to break up. That's just my 2 cents. We'll see. Okay, so this is going to be for Kelsey's mom. I don't know. I saw them at the award show. Ben was not, he was not looking too happy. He was getting told what's up. There's that 10 of Swords again. Knight of Pentacles, 10 of Swords, 2 of Wands. To me, this seems like if you're going through hell, you just keep on going. Like if you're going through a situation, you just keep on going. The Knight of Pentacles is about staying solid, staying grounded, focusing on keeping your eyes on the prize, especially when it comes to health or finances. Slow and steady. It can be an indication that there's incoming messages in regards to health or finances that are coming. And becoming more aware of either patterns or habits that need to end, but approaching this in a positive manner, being like, okay, I can't continue, you know, down this path, or I can't spend money on this anymore. I'm cutting back, but you know, this is why. This is the positive side of it. The 10 of Swords obviously is like that's over when done with. Okay, so you might be getting a definitive answer about your health. You might be getting a definitive answer about something financially. You might be seeking a resource. You might be seeking to sell something and you kind of hit a dead end and you're going to go, okay, well, at least I got my answer. Now I know, and I can kind of redirect my energy. The 2 of Wands is a positive card because it says, okay, I picked myself up, or, you know, we're going to go and look for a solution, or we're going to see if there's another way, or if there's a way around this. There may also be news that's coming from Earth signs. So it can be Virgos, it can be Tauruses or Capricorns. I wonder if this is about weighing your options in regards to whether or not you buy or sell something. This can also be weighing your options in regards to whether or not something is your time, right? It's, you know, is it worth my time working this job anymore? Is it worth my time how much I'm investing in this thing? Do I pull something out? Do I stop buying this product? Do I realize that something is a loss and cut my losses and keep moving forward? At least you're positive about it though. That 2 of Wands makes me feel like you're like, okay, I'm not gonna get stuck there. I'm just gonna keep moving, and I'm about solutions. And keeping your options open and kind of assessing what's on the horizon and reminding yourself that, you know, whatever has ended is ended. You have no other choice but to keep moving forward, especially because it will lead you to either better physical or financial situations, right? So it can be somebody who's like kind of helping you around something. Sometimes this comes up for physical therapy. Sometimes this comes up for financial guidance. Sometimes this is about somebody saying, sorry, you know, we can't extend the credit limit. Sorry, you know, we aren't giving you the loan. And you're like, it's fine. I'm going to find support somewhere else. So it's about continuing on in the midst of having to kind of let something be done, like wrapping something up. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Mari says, I feel the same about Bennifer. That cycle needed to come back, but only to finally close itself up. I love the photo of them on the boat in like the 90s, and he has his hand on her butt, and then you see them on the boat just recently, now that they're in their 50s, and they're doing the same thing again, and I was like, yes, yes. I saw a thing, I don't know where I saw it, it was on Instagram, but somebody was like saying how you can't have the best tipper and the worst tipper in Hollywood together. Because everybody knows, like, Ben Affleck's favorite place is to be like at the craps table in Vegas, like drinking and smoking and like handing out $100 bills. He's a very generous tipper apparently. And then he's like with J-Lo. I don't know. He just seems like so lovable. I felt so bad for him seeing him get scolded on that video. I was like, how could she do that to Ben after he got that new face? Oh my God, I'm going to hell. All right, hopefully that was helpful for Kelsey's mom. Oh, I've seen their synastry. I actually talk about their synastry and why they got back together in my, the Astrology of You and Me. I did a 2-part series where I talked about astrology and relationships and composites and synastry and all that stuff. And I talk about why I think they got together. Jen says, hi, it's Jen for Robert's reading. My husband Robert and I use the same PayPal. Got it. My question is the PayPal memo, Sun in Scorpio, Gemini rising, Aries moon. Okay. Sun in Scorpio, Aries moon. Like me. He's a handful. My brother is a Virgo sun. Our father died last July and we recently closed on his house out of town. We traveled together throughout the last few months to clean out our dad's house. My brother at times had anger towards me that came from nowhere and I sensed negative energy from him. Do you have any insight on a relationship moving forward? Has he been honest? Okay. So first of all, Gemini rising, Scorpio sun. Okay. So your sun is somewhere around your 6th house. And your moon is in Aries in the 11th house. And you're going to have, I'm just thinking about siblings here. So Gemini, Cancer, and then Leo. So that's your 3rd house. That's the sun. So you've had eclipses in opposition to your sun, which rules your whole sign 3rd, which is about disruptions with male siblings. That's what's going on. So let's take a look. 1, 2, 3. So what's going on with your brother? You're sensing negative energy. Do I have any insight? Okay, so these are the cards. Okay. King of Pentacles, Page of Wands, 7 of Wands. I have a question. You said that he passed last year. I'm sorry to hear that. You closed on the house and you traveled together throughout the last few months to clean out dad. Okay. Did you have more control over like what was going on here financially, even if things were distributed equally? Like, were you the person who was in charge of the will? Was it up to you how everything kind of went down in terms of like selling? Were you managing that stuff? Did you get named in the will to be somebody who was going to get something that he didn't? We've got a king and we've got a page. Okay, so kings and pages, traditionally, they're going to be seen as like big brother, little brother. Even if that's not the order of sequence of how you guys were born, there is a sense of somebody having control physically over finances or physical goods and him feeling like he may not. Yeah, I mean, one thing that you're going to see, just as a heads up, knowing that you are Gemini rising, there's going to be that Venus retrograde that's going to be in your 3rd house. And Venus is connected to your 12th house Lord. So probably closer to like July and August, that's when you really want to pay attention to communication with your brother. The Page of Wands and the 7 of Wands does make me feel like somebody has been acting out, but I think they're acting out because they don't feel like they have as much control or they don't have the ability to, you know, navigate something. Like they may not be able to get their way because he's been around. I think it's less about him being able to get along with your husband. I think it's more about him being like, I can't do what I want to do because he's around and things are being kind of like, you know, monitored. Dishonesty, defensiveness for sure. I mean, there's no cards that are coming up about dishonesty. There's cards coming up about what he could or what he would have potentially done with the money or the resources, the home, selling the home, whatever. I feel like he would have perhaps preferred to be the person to spearhead it or rush things along, or to be the person who is in charge of things, and he felt like that it's taking too long, right? Your husband's coming up as the King of Pentacles. So it's saying that he's like, we're going to do it the right way. We're going to do what he wanted. We're going to do it by the book. We're going to kind of not drag our feet, but take our time, right? And really kind of wrap everything up. And also there's a lot of counting and looking at things and assessing things and making sure that everything is kosher. The Page of Wands does not want to do that. It's like, no, just give it to me. Let's get going. Let's just do this now. And gets angry and frustrated and feels like they're being challenged and that they're not having a say in the matter. So if you're going to see any dishonesty, especially about brothers, documents, money, anything like that, like there's a sense of him being like, why do we have to do this? Just make it simple. Let's go. And your husband doesn't want to do that, which is fine. That's okay. The King of Pentacles is saying there is a way of handling things by the book legally and possibly even financially. So everything is documented, right? And so he's just like, let's just go through it. And your husband's like, no, right? Yeah, no. And I think that you're smart for taking your time, because the Four of Coins is saying that because you're dealing with money and accounts and physical goods and sales and taxes and all of these things, there is a need to actually do it appropriately, because I wonder if this is going to be that you guys have to follow this sequence of handling things to make sure that all of the debts are paid or the taxes are paid. Like this is also about what's owed, right? Rather than just dividing things and then being like, oh, there's other things that we have to pay or there's other things that we have to kind of take care of. You may not necessarily get that handled. So you have to keep doing things the way that you're doing it. And yeah, he's going to be defensive. You're going to see that. Page of Wands and Seven of Wands. It's just like, why is this taking so long? Well, it is what it is. Yeah. Don't go away from the plan. Don't veer from the path that you guys have already set forward. It's important for this to happen. And also it's about maybe reminding him, you're not doing this because you're trying to dictate how things go. You just want to make sure that it's done properly and that you guys are crossing all the T's and dotting your I's, you know? And equally documenting things, because this makes me feel like about what goes where and what's paid and like what you guys ultimately end up getting, and like everything needs to be documented, because in the end that Four of Coins can basically be him trying to snatch something up or him trying to say, but this was mine or you owe me this. Like it needs to be documented, because there can be some sense of trying to grab a hold of things towards the end. Yeah, especially as weird as it sounds, like the Four of Coins makes me feel like things that he may already have possession of that you guys still need to divide. Things that he might be in his physical possession that you will become aware of. If you have not already become aware of, that still needs to be sold or still needs to be divided up that he's holding on to. It's not necessarily money per se. It can be physical objects that he's being like, I want this. And I would be like, okay, well, if you're taking that and it's coming out of the estate, this is, you know, this is the actual equivalence. You might be having to kind of keep tabs of not just physical things, but the equivalence in terms of what it's worth. I'm sorry to hear you guys are going through that. That can be really difficult. Obviously, unfortunately, in some of those situations, family deaths can sometimes bring out the worst in people. And it's really hard when you're in the midst of trying to grieve. Yeah, he already has something in his possession, but you will find out, because it was the final card. The Four of Coins is basically saying you'll find out that he took something, but you might be like, okay, well, if you took it and you're taking that out of the estate, then this might be the financial repercussion. A lot of times that's why people will go, whatever is left, they'll have everything just like evaluated, right? They'll kind of give you an idea of what everything is worth. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, guys. Well, that was a fun Friday. I will be back on Sunday. We'll have a Sunday astro weather that's going to be coming out. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the transits for the week, especially the Venus-Neptune conjunction. That's probably what I'm going to kind of touch on a bit. If you guys haven't already seen the horoscopes, check them out. And I'll be back next Friday. We're going to be doing live astrology. So if you guys want to check that out, please do. If you haven't already, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. If you're coming back and watching this, and if you want to leave feedback, that also helps the algorithm. Also, just to kind of fill me in the loop in terms of what happened with your reading. Oh, hold on a second. I see you, Catalina. Hold on. Didn't I already do yours? Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I did yours. Yep, you're in there. You just got to scroll back. You got it. It was about you and your mentorship. It's in here. I did it probably the last 30 minutes. Don't worry. You're just gonna have to go back and find it. But I did do it for you. It was the 2 of Wands. You'll see it. Just scroll back. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. And thanks for checking in with me. And I will go and enjoy the rest of my evening. I hope you guys too. And I'll see you on Sunday, okay? Take care.